Okay, here are the solutions to Unit 2, Stage 2. This is the main questions for the June 2009 revision paper. Calculators are allowed. Okay, let's skip straight to question 1. Write 25.2 to the nearest whole number. So nearest whole number, below it would be 25, the nearest one above it would be 26. This number is clearly nearer to 25. Another word for whole number is integer. Question B, 1B. Write 1/5 as a decimal. Okay, the answer to this is 0.2. Remembering that 1/5 is the same as 2/10, and here we can see the 2/10. Question 27. Question 27, question 1C. Write 27% as a fraction. Remembering that that is 27 parts out of 100. So what we can do here is simply write that like that. 27 over 100. There are no numbers that go into both the numerator and the denominator. So they have no common factors. Okay, no common factors. So we can't do any simplifying with that one. Question 2. Here is a solid prism made from centimeter cubes. Find the volume of the prism. Volume is the 3D space taken up. So it's basically asking how many cubes are there. So we can see 1, 2, 3, 4, and it's 3 deep. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. We have to remember that it's not only just the ones you can see, there'll be ones hidden behind here. So it's going to be, it's 3 deep, and it's 1, 2, 3, 4 in terms of the area, which is the cross section. So the answer is this is going to be 12, which is going to be 3 lots of 4, 12 centimeters cubed. Question 3. In the circle, draw the diameter. Okay, that's as neatly as I can do freehand, D all the way across. A couple of little bits of revision points here, if it's a value. That's a chord. And from the center to the edge is the radius, okay? But we're after this line all the way across here. Question 4A. Find the square root of 196. Okay, you've got a calculator here. So with that being said, you want to simply find your square root button, which will look something like that on your calculator, and then type in 196 and press equals. The answer to that will be 14. 14 times 14 is 196. 4B, find the cube of 7. This is a calculator paper. It's a simple matter of just plugging this in, 343. Question 5, simplify m plus m plus m. 3m. Simplify y times y. It's not going to be 2y, it's going to be y squared, because you're multiplying the terms by each other, by itself. Question C, simplify 3a, take away 4b, plus 2a, plus 5b. Okay, so this is a collecting like terms question, using either colour coding or shapes. Let's group all our a's together using the operators before them. And we'll group all the b's together as well. So what we can see here is I have 3a plus 2a. I believe that was take away 4b plus 5b. Kind of scribble over my own work, that's difficult to see. Therefore I have 5a all together there, and here I had a minus 4 and negative 4b, and then I'll add a b on, so that will be just b. Question 6. Work out 35% of 240. This is a calculator question, so let's learn about how, look at what buttons we need to press to find a percentage of something. Every calculator does have a percentage button on it somewhere. I'm using an old Casio one at the moment, but if you can type in 35, find the button that is a percentage button of some sort, and then times the value you're finding the percent of. That will then get you the answer. 35% times 240. That's definitely not right in terms of how to do it. 35% times 240 divided by 100 times 35. Okay, so that should normally work, but my calculator is kind of working in a bit of a different way at the moment. Another way of doing that should quite simply be the matter of doing 240 divided by 100 to find 1%, and then you would times that by 35, which will give you 84. Question 7. I've got an angle problem. In the diagram, AB equals AC. So that side is the same as that side. We can see that indicated with these little marker points. It is an isosceles triangle, if I can spell correctly. Work out the size of the angle marked X. So if that's 52, we know that that one is 52. Remember, we've got a calculator, so let's not waste time trying to figure things out. It's going to be 52 plus 52, 104. And what we need to do is subtract that from 180 to find out what is left over. Let's tap that out on a calculator, no silly mistakes. Tap, tap, tap. I have 76 degrees up here. I could always then add those three angles back together to make sure that it adds up to 180 altogether. 7b, give a reason for your answer. Once we've found that angle there, it would be a simple matter of saying, putting what we've just done into words. B and C are the same, so subtract this total from 180, which is total of all angles. You probably could just write because 76 plus 52 plus 52 adds up to 180. So I probably wrote that in a bit of a longer way, but as long as you're mentioning that the total number of degrees is 180 somewhere or other, you'll be okay. Question 8. Draw the graph of y equals 3x, take away 2, from values x, for the values of x from -1 all the way up to 3. Now, to save yourself time here, this is a very typical question in an exam. You really only need to get 2 points plotted and draw a neat line through it. Any straight line can be created from just 2 points. So with that being said, we know we've got to go through the -1, we know we've got to go through the 3. I personally would use the following values. We know we're going to be doing a little table like this, maybe -1, 0, 1, 2, 3. The easiest values probably to work with are probably the 0 and the largest number itself here, so you can kind of get all your points on a line. We're working with y equals 3x, take away 2. So I'm going to have 3 lots of 3, which is 9, subtract 2, which is 7. The next column there, or the 0 column, 3 lots of nothing is nothing, take away 2 is -2. I could fill in all the other things, but if I get those two accurately, then I should be able to plot these. This represents the coordinate 3, 7, and this represents the coordinate 0, -2. 3, 7 is there, 0, -2 is there. Now, I could draw a line going through those with a ruler. I could also check maybe one more point as well, just to make sure I've done it correctly. 3 lots of this x value, 3 lots of 1 is 3, then subtract the 2, would be 3 take away 2 is 1. So this coordinate here is 1, 1. 1, the x value there is 1 and the y value is 1. I can now construct probably a bit of a scruffy line that goes through them, something like that. 3 points is always enough to get your line drawn. You can actually draw any straight line through just 2 points. The third point would be good to make sure you've got it in the right place. I don't need this one and I don't need this one. If these three are all in line, you've almost certainly got it right. Question 9, work out 3.4 squared take away 2.6 squared, all divided by 1.6. Just jam all this into a calculator. 3.4 squared plus negative take away 2.6 squared. There's 2 ways you could approach it on a calculator. What you might want to do is put all of the top there in brackets and then divide by 1.6, because you're doing everything on the top first and then divided by 1.6. So your calculator would look brackets 3.16 squared take away 2.6 squared. You'll then have your closed brackets and then you'll divide by 1.6. Or you could quite simply do the 3.6 take away the 2.6 squared, press equals, and then divide that by the 1.6, which will give you an answer of 3. You're getting 2 marks for something like this. It's an easy one to get right, it's an easy one to get wrong. Question 10. John travelled 30 kilometres in 1.4 hours. Kamala travelled 42 kilometres in 2 hours. Who had the greater average speed? You must show your workings. Let's split the page in half here. There's John. There's Kamala. So if we're talking about speed, we've got speed equals distance over time. Bit of basic rudimentary physics here. And therefore we have 30 divided by 1.5 versus 42 divided by 2. Sorry, 42. That one I can do in my head. That's going to be 21 kph. And 30 divided by 1.5 is going to be 20 kph. Classic mistake would be writing a number in the answer. It's asking you who had the greater average speed, and therefore you would need to write Kamala in there, the name of the person that had the greatest speed, because 21 is greater than 20. Be careful when making sure you're answering the question that's actually being asked. To get the 3 marks, you'd also need to see both these values to show you haven't just guessed it or something. And that apparently is that. Fantastic.